Y'all think you know country music? I bet you didn't know this. Part 53. We're going back to Bo Cephas for this one. Now, in the mid-90s, Hank Jr. released a record, a very underrated record called Hog Wild, a song that he wrote about his longtime friend, the legendary Waylon Jennings. If you've never heard it, it is a great song. One of the best tributes to another artist that I've ever heard. Now, before this record come out, Hank Jr. did a radio interview with Charlie Chase from Crook and Chase. He kind of talked about the tracks, how they recorded them, how he wrote them before the album came out. On this radio special, he describes to Charlie Chase how he wrote The Eyes of Waylon. Hank said they all ended up on a flight together, him and Mary Jane, his previous wife, Waylon and Jesse. And they were sitting there talking, and he asked the flight attendant for a pen and a pad. He wrote those words down and turned around and handed it to Waylon. He said Waylon's eyes got teary and Jesse's eyes got teary. But don't take it from me. Listen to Bo Cephas himself tell this story.
We were on a commercial flight together, and you know, you're crammed in there in those seats, and I was sitting there and I looked around behind. Here comes Jesse and Waylon. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh boy, and we hadn't seen each other in a while, and we just talked a little bit, and he was right behind me. And I bent over that seat. We were talking and telling stories and laughing, and where have you been, and have you, you caught any big fish lately? And remember this and remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, give me a pad. I called the stewardess, and I turned around. And I put this thing together and turned around and handed it to him. And golly, Jessie got all teary, and
Really?
he got all flustered, and he said, man, you shouldn't have, because it's almost a gospel song. And he said, you shouldn't have done that. And I said, when I get to a guitar, this is just words here, but when I get to a guitar, I'm going to really finish this up for you. And when I did get to the guitar, it just happened. It was so easy to put together the melody, the haunting, the story, and it was just really easy to write. And it's a friendship, like a father, a son, a brother, and his eyes told me a lot. And all of us in this business had better think about what I'm saying in there. We can all be big. We can all be entertainers of the year. We can be all this gold and platinum, but we better think about the other part at the end, and that's what this is about, and still have that same fire and that same twinkle in the eye that he's got.